This football boot created history. This is the boot Ebere Eze scored with to give Crystal Palace their first ever major trophy. Well, not the exact same boot, but you know what I mean. It's called the New Balance Furon V8, and in this video I'm going to provide an overview, sizing and comparison with the previous model for the boot. So let's start with the specs. The boots feature a one-piece hypo knit upper, which in my opinion is the best knit on football boots. Asymmetric lacing for less interrupted touch on the ball. The forefoot of the upper has this kind of debossed texturing to it. And then on the instep you can see these heat press silicone dots for added grip on the ball. It also has this very aggressive stud pattern with several T-shaped studs. I would not recommend to use this on AG. And in the heel you have this extra T-stud, which New Balance called the speed control stud, which is there to provide a bit more control of your speed when you're running. The boot also has a very flexible and soft padded heel with a low internal heel cup. And then a foam insole with a layer of New Balance's Infinity grip, which is there to reduce foot slippage. And at full price, these boots will cost you £220, but you can find them at different retailers where they're already on sale. Now, there's several colorways of this boot that are currently on the market, but I just had to go for this one because of two reasons. Number one, purple is my favorite color. And two, I was sold on these when I saw Saka wear them when Arsenal beat Real Madrid 3-0 at the Emirates. Purple is also one of those colors that you hardly see on football boots, and they just tend to stand out a bit more. And this has like this kind of matte metallic finish to it as well, with the orange and silver making it really pop. Now that I've talked about the specs and design, let's see how they feel on feet. Now on feet, it's pretty much a continuation on what we saw on the previous model, which I'll touch on later. But in terms of comfort, these are so good. Like, I can't speak any higher of them. I said it earlier, but hypo knit is the best and most comfortable knit on the football boot market. The heel also has a great amount of padding, and the initial lock-on of the boot is great too. The overall fit of the boot is amazing. There's little to no room in the toe area or flaring around my ankles once I lace them up properly. As far as width goes, I'd say these are still on the narrower side of things, so if you have wide feet, I would stay away from them. But as long as your feet aren't too wide, mine are slightly on the wider side, you should be fine. As far as sizing goes, I'd say you should go half a size up from your usual size. I usually wear 9.5 UK in Nike or Adidas, but for these I'm wearing a UK 10. For B1, these recommendations are based on my foot shape and my preferences, so adjust to yours accordingly. So how do they compare to the previous model in the Furon V7 Plus? I'd say cosmetically it's changed quite a bit. In terms of similarities, they both use hypo knit uppers, and pretty much that's where the similarities kind of stay in terms of just like cosmetically. Both boots use hypo knit uppers, and then they do have debossed texturing on them, but the debossed texturing on the Furon V8 is a bit different to the ones that you see on the V7 Plus. And in terms of differences, let me just start. So no longer have the cord out canopy, as you can see here. It was like almost like a lace cover. This is no longer there. Instead you have the more exposed lacing. Another one is that you can see New Balance have added the silicone dots where this was not present on the previous model. And then the graphic on the upper has changed quite significantly as well. On the V7 Plus it was quite plain, as you can see here. There's not too much going on apart from the big N, and then you can see like there's a lot more going on with the V8, which seems a bit more kind of in your face and aggressive. To me, it's still not as good as what we had on the V7, the original one, where I had like that NB flash that I had on the instep of the boot to the forefoot, but this is still like an improvement from what we saw with the previous model. Another change you can see is like in the shape of the heel and just the opening of the boot. In the V8 is much wider than compared to the V7 Plus, so again your foot into these boots is much easier compared to these. And the shape of the heel as well is different. You can see this one's a bit more ergonomic, you can say, and curved compared to this one. As you can see, the collar is a bit higher on this one. It kind of a bit irritating at times. It could dig into the back of your heel. Not necessarily give you like blisters, but it was just a bit annoying, where this isn't the case with the V8. And then the biggest difference you will see is going to be in the sole plates. You thought the Furon V7 Plus had an aggressive sole plate. This one's just like what you say in terms of aggressiveness. This is like what Gabriel Malaguesh, and this one is prime skinhead Wayne Rooney. The V7 Plus, you just had like your regular chevrons. With the T-shaped stud, you have this kind of extra angle, so there's more aggressiveness to it, I guess, so you grip more to the ground. But neither of these should be used on AG, in my opinion. If you want, well, you can use them on an AG, but it's at your own risk, so yeah. But in my opinion, I'd avoid using a sole plate like this on AG surfaces. The V8 does have an AG option, just not available in a lot of the colorways, but I could be wrong there, so do check that out on like your Pro Direct or the New Balance website. On feet, they're also a bit different. The V8 feels like there's overall less padding and ever so slightly more volume compared to the V7 Plus, which I anticipate should give you like a closer touch on the ball, which you could say the one complaint people had about the V7 Plus, well, me personally, you could say that sometimes it just felt a bit too cushioned for a speed boot. You want a more kind of like barefoot sensation a lot of the time, but you know, it's all down to personal preference. But yeah, this one has a thinner upper compared to the previous model. But in terms of overall fit and sizing, again, both fit quite narrow in my opinion, and I had to go half a size up in both boots. And that's it for the video, guys. Hopefully it was of some substance to you. If so, please like the video, subscribe to the channel so you know when the play test for this drops. And like always, my name is Sub. This has been Substance Football. Thank you for watching. See you next time.